welcome back to Auto Social UK. If this is the first time that you're finding my channel, then hello. And if you like new car reviews, then please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd love you to join me on my channel. So today we're starting things inside of the car because it's got to that time of the year and it's just so windy. I'm going to insert some clips of me fighting with the tripod outside. I've been wanting to review this car for a while, and that's because so as you can see, I thought it'd be much nicer to start things on the inside of the car and just chat to you guys without being blown to bits. This video has been a long time coming. Not a long time since the car was released because it's been out a little while, but a long time coming of me having it on this channel. And that's because I've perhaps got a little bit of a controversial opinion. I think the Peugeot 208 is the best looking hatchback to enter the market in years. And this is specifically the E-208, but essentially both cars look very, very similar. And that was a conscious effort from Peugeot. Peugeot wanted their customers to feel that they were getting the same snazzy exterior of the car to if you was to go for a petrol or diesel, so there's very little changes around the outside of the vehicle.
The E-208 sculpted bonnet, 3-claw LED light design and prominent rear piano black trim give it a distinctive look. You can tell it apart from the regular 208 by its E badging and special Peugeot badge that changes colour in different lights. Side on, the tinted windows, 17-inch alloys and wheel arch extensions catch the eye, but it's the rear that really encapsulates the E208's dynamism. Once again, there are 3D claw effect rear lights, but these are connected by a black strip with Peugeot lettering. It looks modern, athletic and desirable.
Changes to the electric car really are minimal, and they also offer the electric car in the same 5 trims. So you've got the Active Premium, the Allure Premium, and then you've got a GT line. But then the electric car comes in its very own trim, which is the GT, and that's the car that I have today.
Kicking it off, the Active gets 16-inch alloys with a 7-inch screen, aircon and rear sensors, with the Active Premium adding sat-nav. Allure trim gives you 17-inch alloy wheels, automatic aircon, wireless charging and a 3D cockpit. Allure Premium once again adds a sat-nav to this. GT line gets some exterior styling, front and rear parking sensors and a rear view camera, while the top spec GT model nets you adaptive cruise control and heated front seats.
The interior of the car is very high quality, and I'm happy to say that it matches the snazzy kind of design on the outside. There's a lot of really nice materials, including a leather wrapped steering wheel, and you've also got a very nice swooping carbon effect dash. It's also lots of squidgy plastics on the dashboard, and it's higher quality than you'll find in the electric Corsa. However, it's not quite as fun as the quirky looks of the electric Mini, but then that's something that Mini does very well. The seats in this top spec GT are very, very nice. So they're very cushioned sports seats. We've got leather and we've also got a suede with some really nice detailing stitching on it, and also contrasting stitching in electric blue and green around the edges. These are some of the nicest seats that I've sat in a while. The only thing I will note is there's no electric adjustments. Now, I have said this in other electric videos, and people have said to me that they really do have to do that to reduce how much electric the car is using. But when you're buying a top spec car, it does seem a little bit of a shame that you still have to use manual movements.
A 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system is standard, with a bigger 10-inch option standard on the Allure Premium and GT lines. The screen's a bit fiddly to operate and doesn't always respond as quickly to prods as you'd like, but it's good that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring come as standard. Unfortunately, another car to fall victim to the no physical climate dials. The air conditioning requires you to go via the touchscreen to adjust it. It would be far better if there were physical dials on the interior temperature, like you get in the Corsa E.
Right, I can't work out if I'm missing something. So, on the screen, I can't see any home to bring up everything in one place. like not that. That's obviously for the sat nav. You can use these to obviously change the settings that way, but there's no, which is a bit annoying. So you have to use these buttons rather than click on the screen, which isn't great. And it was at this point of editing this video that I realised that I had completely missed the home button. So yeah, as you can see, it's right there. So please ignore this little rant, but it does go to show that it's probably not as clear as it could be. So like, I was trying to stop the navigation, so there was no just stop, like they don't make it obvious, which is a little bit annoying. So this is a little bit fiddly, but like with any of these things, I'm sure you get used to it. Space in the rear isn't bad at all. It's certainly not class leading, but it can comfortably sit 3 kind of smaller children or a couple of larger adults. There's plenty of headroom and legroom and enough space to pop your feet under the seat in front. There's also 2 USB charging ports in the back and the same really nice high quality materials and stitching on the seats.
If you're wondering if there's a practicality compromise in choosing the E-208 over the petrol or diesel version where it comes to luggage space, there isn't. Fossil fuelled or electric, even the 208 has the same boot capacity. That means you'll be able to carry more luggage than you would in a mini electric. However, unfortunately, there's no handy height adjustable boot floor like there is on the Mini.
Battery usage so far seems very, very good. So I left the dealership at 130 miles and I reckon I've travelled around 5 miles to my filming location, which is now actually occupied, so I've got to find another filming location, but that's a different story. And I'm still on 130 miles. So I haven't got any of the consumables on and I have got my regenerative braking. But to do that much journey and to actually have not dropped at all is very good. I'll check back in on the way back and we'll see how much more battery I've used between now and the end of filming. So let's talk stats for the E-208. So it has got a 50 kilowatt iron battery, which will do 217 miles of charge. Now this car does take the 100 kilowatt charger, which is rare, but when you can get hold of a 100 kilowatt charger, then you can charge this car from 0 to 80% in just half an hour. So that's actually pretty impressive. It will do it from your at-home wall box in around 8 hours, so one evening basically from when you get home, plug it in, and then it will be fully charged by the time you wake up the next morning. So it produces 136 brake horsepower and has 221 newton meters of torque. So it's pretty quick, it's pretty nippy, and it goes quite far and it charges quite quick. So in all of those elements, it's not the best at any of them, but it does very well at all of them. Similar to its other electrified rivals, the 208 is really best at low to medium speeds, where it almost feels hot hatch-like it's that quick. But when you get to around 50 miles per hour, it then does start to kind of slow that acceleration almost rapidly, and at which point it feels no more powerful than your average naturally aspirated petrol engine. The Peugeot is reasonably agile by electric car standards, and something that's actually quite surprised me, but pleasantly surprised me, is the steering wheel is quite weighted, which is nice. It makes you feel like you have a connection with the car. Nowadays, in a lot of these hatches, town cars, city cars, the steering is very, very light, especially if you have the city steering. But in this car, it's still nicely weighted, which gives you that connection that a lot of cars have lost. This car comes with loads of safety specification as standard to make you feel super comfortable and confident behind the wheel. Things like that include autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and traffic sign recognition that beams the relevant speed limit onto your dials. If you go for the GT line or GT trim, you get an upgraded autonomous emergency braking that uses radar rather than a camera-based sensor and can respond to a cyclist or pedestrian as well as a vehicle. However, one thing I will note is Similar to the Toyota Yaris, the Peugeot 208 safety equipment does like to shout at you. What is that? That's so loud. Why is that so loud? I hate cars that bleep at me. I've had it a couple of times. I've had some bleeps go off that's scared the absolute life out of me. I think once I went perhaps over a line, and the second time I joined a slip road with a speed camera on. I'm not even too sure. All I know is it made me jump and perhaps made me a little bit more scared than it actually did to protect me. Of course, you can get used to what all these safety systems mean, and I'm sure you can turn them off from not being quite so aggressive. They're good to have them. Anyone that follows this channel for a long while knows that I really like tech, but I don't like my tech to shout at me. Isn't it funny how quickly we get used to little design tweaks? So the steering wheel in the Peugeot is smaller, and the main reason for that is so that it doesn't block your vision to see the 3D dashboard. And I've got perfect vision. I've actually got the steering wheel down quite low, so I'm personally looking over the top of the steering wheel, but I think you can position it to look through it as well. But because I've got the steering wheel down quite low, it's not too far from my knees, and also it's smaller. So between those two things, I'm feeling a little bit like I'm driving a toy car. I'm sure I'll get used to it. And it is one of those things we all get used to, the standard size of a steering wheel, and one little change and we're like, oh, this feels different, I don't like it. And then you get used to it really quickly. But yeah, just to note, it is a little bit strange when you first drive it.
The E-208 is a little heavier than the standard car, thanks to the weight of the batteries. So the Peugeot has stiffened the suspension a little to compensate, which means it's not quite as comfortable over bumps. The Peugeot E-208 is a small electric car with masses of appeal, easy to drive, smartly styled and capable of covering over 200 miles on a single charge. The electric version of the 208 is an impressive and likeable EV.
Right, I'm just dropping the Peugeot back now, and as I promised, I will update you on range. So we took the car on 130, and where I drove to was 18 miles. Give or take, I did a little bit more driving around and I got lost. So in all, I reckon I probably did at least 50 miles. And we are now on 93 miles. So what's that, 30? Yeah, so it's done like 40 miles of range when really I've done 50 miles. So actually, that's very, very good. As soon as I put the heating on, that dropped down, and that's when I saw the biggest dip. And also it seems to kind of catch itself up. So when you first start off, you use hardly any range at all, and then it starts to catch back up again.
Do you agree with me that the Peugeot 208 is the best looking hatchback to come into the market? If you don't, then please let me know what you think is the best looking in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more reviews like this, then head over and subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell notification if you never want to miss another video. Thank you so much to John Grose Peugeot in Ipswich for lending me the E-208 for the day. If you was in the market for an electric Peugeot, or really any Peugeot, then if you head to the link in my description, it will have all the details of their latest offers. Thank you so much, John Grose, and thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.